Hope everyone's doing well. This is Jay from J&D's Retirement Journey. Today we're going to dig into Invsco QQQ, trust the EFT, and we're going to see its, sister EFT, Invsco NASDAQ 100, QQM. We're going to see which one's better. I'm trying to figure out what I want to invest in next. Right now I'm investing in JEPQ. I have about 360 shares. When I get to 500 in the next few months, I'm going to switch over to one of these funds and probably go in for another 500 on one of these. So let's see what the numbers say, guys. If you find this information useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to 100 subscribers, which is great. And remember to hit that thumbs up, that like button. It'll really help out the channel. All this information is right off the Charles Schwab website. Any broker you could be able to compare funds. They should have these tools. And remember, guys, talk with your financial planner before you invest in anything. I'm not a financial planner. Do your research. We're going to start off with QQQ. It's an EFT. It has $230 billion in assets. The inception date was 3/10/1999. So it's been around almost, 25 years. The fund strategy. The investment seeks investment results that generally correspond to the price and yield performance of the NASDAQ 100 index. To maintain the correspondence between the composition and weights of the securities in the trust and the stocks in the NASDAQ 100 index, the advisor adjusts the securities from time to time to conform to periodic changes in the identity and/or relative weights of index securities. The benchmark is the S&P 500 Trust USD, the same for QQM. QQM, the total assets, 18.5 billion. It was started about 4 years ago, a little less than 4 years, 3.5 years ago. I'm not going to read the fund strategy because it's basically the same. The fees and expenses, we're going to go right down the list here. QQQ 0.20%. QQM 0.15%. The last price close of business 1/18/2024. QQQ was almost $413 a share. The 52-week range was 273 to 413. QQM 170. The range was 112 to 170. So they both went up. Give or take 50%. They had great years, I guess. The yields, they don't pay too many dividends. It's more a growth ETF. So you're looking at 0.62 on the QQQ and 0.68 on QQM. The deviation, anything more than 1% on the beta, it's usually a little more riskier, but you expect that with the NASDAQ and the tech stocks. Morningstar rates QQQ 5 stars. The overall rating, 3-year rating is 4, 5-year rating 5 stars, 10-year rating 5 stars. Historic return is high and above average risk. Now we shoot over to QQM. 4 stars, the overall rating. The 3-year rating is 4 stars. Again, historic return high, and the risk is above average. Let's take a quick look at the growth of a $10,000 investment. We're looking at 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. We're comparing it to the S&P 500 benchmark. As we go into 1 year, you could see they really had a great year last year. So they 10,000 turned into about 15,000. As we go over to the 3-year chart, they're about tied with the S&P 500 at 13 and change. Then we go over to the 5-year chart. We're back at about 15. And remember, QQM wasn't around for these last two periods. And the 10-year chart, they're doing pretty good. It's up to 15. They're basically keeping pace with the S&P 500, which is great. This chart breaks down the monthly performance by years and months, I guess. I just like to go right down to since inception. QQQ 9.45 and monthly NAV return for QQM was 11.6. As we go all the way down, same thing, 944 and 958. This chart shows the year in performance. As you guys could see, they've had some great years and some terrible years. Almost 55% last year, both of these, down 32% and 20s. It's been mostly green, so this is good. As we go into the portfolio for these ETFs, they're basically going to be both the same. The difference here is the total net assets. QQQ is much bigger fund. Holdings 101 compared to QQM 103. The turnover is pretty similar, 22% to 27%. The top 10% of assets, 40, it's basically the same, and it's 100% in stocks. As we go over to the actual portfolios, you're going to see they're basically identical. Right down the list here. You got Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Broadcom, Meta, Platforms, Tesla, Alphabet, and Costco. It's basically the same percentages. In conclusion, then the next ETF I'm going to buy would be QQM. The reasons for this, the expense ratio, it's less than QQQ. It pays a tiny bit more of a dividend, and they have the identical portfolio. And on top of that, it's 170 a share compared to 400, so I could accumulate more shares quicker. So that's the reason I'm going to buy that right after I finish JEPQ. Again, guys, talk with your financial planner. Do your research before you invest in anything. And thanks for listening. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again.